Three, two, one. And welcome, Jay. How are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm fine as well. Um, Jay Antenbring, ladies and gentlemen, you are a sports massage therapist and a
Yep.
personal trainer.
Yep.
And today we want to have a little conversation about a trigger point, about massage, about your job. And I would say, let's start. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. Thanks for inviting me on this first and foremost. I'm a sports massage therapist from the UK. I've only been doing sports massage for about a year. But I've always had a fascination with anatomy and how the body works and things like that from personal training from a long time ago. So I think sports massage and things like that, where you physically helping enabling the body, is massive for me. So it's something that fits perfectly with my passions and what I actually enjoy doing. So that's why I started doing sports massage, and that's why I do what I do. It's not for money. It's not to be able to leave my current job and do this full time. It's just for the love of helping people by helping them get better, I guess.
That's very kind of you. And this type of massage that you are doing, is it specific, or is it all normal massage?
Yeah, so I do all sorts of massage. I guess I think massage is just a technique. It's all just different techniques done in different ways. So sports massage is very focused on an individual area. So you would come and you would say, "I've got an issue with my shoulder," and
Mhm.
I could spend an hour just on the shoulder,
All right.
um, and that would help manipulate all the muscles and joints within the shoulder. Whereas someone could come and say, "Oh, I just need my back. I just need a massage on my back," and I could spend half an hour, 90 minutes, just working on a full back,
Mm.
doing all sorts of different techniques. It doesn't have to be elbows and wrists and thumbs and painful pressing and things like that to get required results and stuff like that. It can just be a nice, soothing massage at the same time. So I do it all. I'm not just heavy-handed.
Nice. But especially the shoulder is a very, very complex mechanism. I think the
Indeed.
complex one on the body, and there are
Yeah,
so many different, yeah, ligaments and function of it. Like you can move
yeah,
it in
yeah,
all sorts of range of motion.
yeah.
Um, and do you think that there is some big issue in our society? Do you see it in your work that a lot of people come to you?
Yeah, so a lot of people come to me. I don't think the issue is with society. I think the body doesn't develop as fast as everything else. So
Mm,
you think about cars, for example, and how many times new suspension comes out for cars and new tires and this sort of thing, because pavements change and floors change and things. The human body hasn't really changed for thousands and millions of years, I guess. So the body isn't used to running on pavement. The body's not used to a treadmill. The body's not used to lifting weights and pushing it as far as we are pushing our bodies currently. It's not used to being
mm,
sat down at a desk for 8 hours a day and or driving and things like that. The human body is built for basic, running on grass and things like that, and soft things. So although the human body is very strong, with bones and ligaments and tendons and muscles and things like that, it's a very strong system. It hasn't evolved as fast as humans have in terms of knowledge. So I think that's where the problem lies. I think there's a lot that we do now that our body's just not able to understand what it's doing. So it tries to evolve. So bad posture, if you're sat at a desk all day long, the body tries to evolve itself to think, right, this is going to be more comfortable in the long run if I start to try and fix this. If I start to sit with a slouch, that's going to be more comfortable. It's going to be able me to type better and things like that. And I think that's because the body is so intelligent, it starts to try and fix itself for the future, as opposed to thinking this is best for me in all walks of life. That this is best for me now, sat at a desk, for example.
yeah, but that's very interesting what you are saying. I mean, there is a lot of things going on now regards to bad posture, stiffness, and imbalances.
Yeah.
Um, what would be your tip to do today for somebody who's sitting a lot
Yeah.
to to get rid of it, or maybe work against it?
Yeah, movement is the best thing. I think like my full-time job is I work in a bank that's sat down a lot, and the amount of people that can just sit there for 5 hours straight without standing up and moving, and it's crazy that would happen. Your body is bound to feel numb. It's bound to feel. I mean, I've sat down for 15 minutes and my lower back's like, come on, let's get up, let's move. So I mean, I use this term, and I've heard this online before, like motion is lotion and rest is rust. And that's it does just resemble that. That's what your body needs. Your body needs fluids to be running through the joints. It needs you to get up and stand up and move and correct your posture and pull your shoulders back and just be in a position where you're telling your body, no, this is how you do it. Don't correct it for me. Let me do it. Type things.
Yeah.
So you're forcing yourself into a position where you are doing what your body requires you to do to be healthy, and not what's easy for you at the time. You're doing it's almost that you have to be conscious constantly of, later on in the day, am I going to feel this later on? Is my back going to hurt? Are my legs going to hurt? That sort of thing, that you just constantly move. That would be my tip in terms of correction.
Especially if you are working, let's say, for 8 hours in a job where you sit a lot, and then you go to the gym for an hour. It's not that good, because
for sure,
it's just like rushing it. One thing that I do always is I imagine myself a glass of water and in the middle of my chest, and it's full, and I always try that the water don't come of it.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah. So if you just,
I imagine there's something in between my shoulder blades.
You want to hold it
and try and keep the shoulder blades like that. So yeah, same sort of thing. But yeah, I like that tip in the glass.
So you would say that a common thing when it comes to pain is related to the lack of movement and unconsciousness of the people?
For sure, yeah, for sure.
Okay, so we need to be more conscious and we need to move. All movements are right, or is it there special movement tip that you...
Movement is movement, I guess. I think it could just be that you sat up and you're doing some thoracic twists and things like that as you sat down still, if you can't get up and move. But I think it's just movement, and just allowing your body to know that you're in charge and you're doing what your body needs, as opposed to just unconsciously moving through life. And then, like you say, you get to a gym and then you imagine that sudden switch of your body's been in rest mode. It's almost been asleep, and then you're up and you're out at the gym, and your joints are all not lubricated enough. Your muscles haven't had blood rushing through them. They haven't got enough nutrients and fluids and all that sort of stuff. You're bound to not perform as well as you should do, I guess. Which is, professional athletes are constantly training, constantly moving, and that when it comes to game day, they have warm-ups and all that sort of stuff, and they warm up for a couple hours before a match because they know that their body needs that type of thing.
Yeah.
General society now, like you say, will spend 8 hours sat down at a desk and then get up and go to the gym, and that's bound to cause problems, which is why you then need to go to a sports massage therapist. If you're moving enough and you're up and about, you shouldn't need to go to a sports massage therapist unless you just want to lie down and relax. I mean, you shouldn't need to go and say, my shoulder hurts here at the front. There's a little pain here. It's if you've been moving enough and they've got enough lubricant and enough blood going through the muscles, you shouldn't need a massage.
Especially when I sit a lot and then go lifting heavy weights, it's in the end not very, very productive for your body, because when I'm doing an hour or let's say 40 minutes of weightlifting, I need to do a very, very proper warm-up and a nice stretching session in the end. But what I see with some of my friends also, that they just go and hit the gym hard, and I mean, we are still young, we are like 25, 30 years, but accumulated this hours and hours of weightlifting, especially in a high kilograms, can cause many troubles when you hit 40, 50, 60, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
and then it's kind of not too late, but a little bit too late. What would you say about that?
But you imagine people lifting weights younger as well. I mean, I've got a 13-year-old daughter that is wanting to join a gym, and at 13, press ups was about as much as exercise as I was doing in terms of bulking up. And that was, for rugby training. But she's wanting to go and join a gym, and I've got, you can join a gym in the UK at I think it's 11 years old, but
Oh,
you're just
really?
not allowed on free weights, just resistance.
Mm.
Which is crazy. Imagine starting the gym at 11 years old and they're not going to warm up and they're not going to stretch and cool down and stuff like that. And they're putting such strain on already developing muscles. It's bound to cause problems if you don't do, like you say, the right things, which is a specific warm up, specific to the thing that you're looking to do. And then a really good stretch and cool down and allow your muscles to just do what they need to do.
Yeah. I started with 16 and I didn't have a mentor. I did some movements before. I did a little bit of martial arts. I did soccer playing. And then with 16, I was like, no, now I'm going to the gym. I want to become really, really big and massive, get my weight gainers, get my protein shakes. And then I went to the gym and I just trained the muscles that I see in front of the mirror. And I did it for like 2 to 3 years. And it caused me many years of trouble, really. Like I had upper back problems for years and years. And that's because I never warmed up properly. I never trained every muscle equal.
Yeah.
And just a lack of knowledge and leader. Nobody lead me to it. I went to the gym and I just did it, and the trainers there were just interested in making money with people who sign up for that. So that would bring me to my next question, which I'm speaking about personal things now. It's stiffness in the body, like for example, stiffness in the pectoralis area or upper back. What can I do today to lose tension or stiffness in the body, like by myself?
Yeah, so the tension, I'll talk a little bit about what tension is first. And once you understand and realize what tension is, you can then understand and realize how to remove it. So tension is, so imagine you flex your muscle and then you relax your muscle. There's some of the muscle fibers that then don't relax, so they stay flexed. So it can become microtension, which have trigger points, like you've already talked about. That's what they're called, but then people refer to them as knots. And then big, large tension, when you start to cramp up and feel a lot of uncomfortable pains, where there's a large amount of muscle fibers that are still flexed. So the best way to remove that is to stretch it out, to flex it and stretch it out again, and flex it and stretch it out again. So the pec one's an easy to do because you can grab it. You can grab your pec and you can stretch it out manually, and you can pull it, and then you can flex it and you can pull it, and what it does is it flexes them all together, and it's encouraging the ones that aren't relaxed to relax. And you can do the same on all muscles. Obviously, it's a little bit more difficult when you go into the back and you can't actually physically stretch it yourself. But there are stretches and movements that you can do. You can what's important is to remove is to push blood through the muscle in the direction that the blood flows. So if it's from toes, it's going up, and if it's neck, it's going down, and it's arms, it's going all towards the heart. So pushing the blood towards the heart. And you can do that anyway. You can get a massage ball, you can get a massage gun, you can get a foam roller, you can get a tennis ball. You can do any of those things. You can use your hand and just push the blood. And what you're looking to do is replenish the nutrients that your body, that your muscle requires. So it could be that your muscle has too much salt in it and not enough fluid in there, not enough blood, not enough nutrients, so that you're pushing that out of the muscle and you're replenishing it with the right nutrients. So that's what massage is essentially, is just removing the old nutrients and allowing some fresh nutrients in. So yeah, for those of you who aren't massage therapists, you no longer need a massage therapist because you can do it yourself.
Yeah, and that's what I did when I just discover the tools that you mentioned with the massage ball. I have the ball, the small black roll ball, and something like knots to put pressure on, and that helped me so much. And the stretching of the specific areas. In my case, my chest, because I trained so much chest that my back muscles couldn't do too much work, and then they start burning. And you know, when it's burning, it means that the muscle is working too much, or is taking work of muscles who are not active as much as they should. And what I also find out about this blood flow thing is going into the hot shower and then turning to cold to make like a heat shock therapy, which also leads to better blood flow and everything. And so tension is coming from muscles who are too contracted.
Yeah, so muscles that when contracted haven't released. So that could be from a number of things. It could just be that muscle fiber didn't want to relax. It could be that there's a lack of, they're not stretched enough, they're not flexible enough. It could be that there's an injury there. When an injury is present, the nutrients around that injury goes to the injury. So the muscles around it, that's why there's a lot of knots around an injury, because the muscle fibers around the injury don't get the right nutrients, because the nutrients goes to the injury instead. So that's why you need manual therapy and manual help to try and loosen and stretch those muscle fibers off.
Oh, that's interesting. And I didn't know that.
It's an amazing thing, the body. It really is an amazing thing.
Yeah, and it can heal itself if you let it.
Yeah.
So that would be like the next question. If the tension or the knots are related to imbalances, or does imbalances play a role, something like the sole of the shoe or dehydration, psychosomatic issues, all of these things matter, right?
Yeah, they do, for sure. So anything that disrupts the natural movement or natural flow of the body certainly has a part to play. So imbalances, like you say, that disrupts the natural posture of a body. So part of the body will start to overcompensate for the other part. And then because of the overcompensation, the other part's not getting the right nutrients, and it all comes down to what blood is flowing flowing through the muscles. And if it's the right balance and you've got it right, then you'll feel fine and you'll be good to go. And as long as you're stretching it out, you won't ever need any help in that aspect, all being well. And things like soles of your shoes, like you say, that all plays a part, because if you've got too much shock in your foot when you're running on pavement, for example, if you're not wearing the right shoes, because like I say, your body's not designed for running on concrete. It's not designed for running on pavement, so you need the right type of shoe that has the research and things like that to prevent the shock, because the nutrients that's in the foot, in the plantar muscle in the bottom of the foot, that can't get out, can't escape up through the heel and up through the calf, so it sits there. The feet are a massive one. Every time I touch someone's feet, there's so many knots in feet. It's unreal. And I mean, a great one for that is just getting a ball and just rolling your foot on it, and just rolling and rolling and rolling. And it's relatively painful because there's a lot of tension in there, but that is a muscle that, I mean, I did a barber once, and the next day I spoke to him. I said, "How's your foot feeling?" "No, how are you feeling?" I did a full body massage on him. I said, "How are you feeling?" And he said, "Amazing, but my feet feel like I'm walking on clouds." I had no idea that my feet were even in pain. It's like, and then you've done some work on my feet, and then now I can't feel anything but amazing feet. And I was like, well, that's great. And that's just someone that doesn't go to the gym. He just stands a lot being a barber. So yeah, that's the type of thing that, like you say, that they do play a massive part in needing treatment, are these imbalances and current way of life, and not using the right equipment and things like that, and not knowing what you're doing with the equipment.
Yeah, that's true. Especially the foot, because it's like the foundation of the body. And for people who stand a lot around and don't treat the body right, they develop like massive problems. That's why like the Chinese people do the foot reflex therapy, where they have this picture of the foot, and each they have like many different parts of it where it's connected to different parts of the body.
Yeah.
And
reflexology, that it's impressive stuff.
we call it in Germany Fußreflextherapie.
Yeah, I think we just call it reflexology, I think. But yeah, it's impressive stuff. It's impressive stuff. I've never had it done, but I've heard people that have had it done, and people have touched their feet and said, "Oh, you've had a shoulder injury in the past," and they're like, "Oh, yeah, I have." Which is like, that's like, it's like a psychic rather than a therapist.
Crazy.
But it's
crazy. But I also read something like, if, for example, sometimes I have tingling in my hands.
Yeah.
And it hurts sometimes in my elbow, and it's not directly from the elbow. If pain shows up, it's not that the pain is where it shows up. It's because, for example, it comes from the shoulder or from the wrist.
Yeah.
Same for the knee. If you have knee pain, it's not directed to the knee, but it could come from the hips or from the foot, like from the foot.
Yeah, for sure. And that's why it's important that you do a really good initial consultation with someone, I guess, is to understand what the problem is. Because like you say, you could feel it in your knee, but it could be that the nerve's being trapped in the hip because there's an imbalance in the hip. So you could spend an hour treating a knee and never fix that problem because the hip is the issue.
Yeah.
You know, the nerves, there's so many nerves that run through the body. The amount of nerves that run through the spine and the spinal column, and the amount of back problems that people have, the injuries from the back can spout up anywhere in the body. You can feel it in your bicep, and it's from actually your spine or something like that. So it's impressive, but also quite frustrating as a therapist to find where the problem is. But that's, like you say, like I say, that's where the consultation's important, to actually find out what the problem is and where the problem lies.
One other interesting thing when we talk about like the whole body is when I close my eyes and touch the back of my neck and look to the left and to the right, the nerves in my back head are moving. So it's all connected. And if your posture is bad, if you lack a good posture, it can like you can develop a lot of many pain and everything.
Yeah, for sure. It is all connected, and nerves are a big part of it. And treating nerves is part of trigger point therapy, and understanding where the trigger points are within specific muscles, which are tender spots that you would press on to invoke a reaction within those nerves to support the muscle bit.
Are they the trigger points always at the same spot, or is every human being different?
They're reasonably at the same spot. I mean, you have to fumble around a little bit to try and find it. I mean, a good one, and I've done this a number of times for people that tell me they get headaches at the front. So a great one to release headaches there is if you feel in your eyebrow, there's a dip where your eyebrow feels like it kind of like goes like this. And if you press up towards your skull in there, that should feel quite tender.
Yeah. And
that's the trigger point. So that's a good one for frontal temple headaches. And the trigger points, you know if you've got a trigger point because someone makes the noise that you just made. Which is so you know you've got it when that noise is made. Otherwise, you're just looking for it.
Okay. Nice. You also doing regeneration?
What's that, sorry?
Regeneration? You are... Yeah. What are your regeneration regimens?
So it's more around just keeping movement. And so once you've had any kind of treatment, and whether that be a remedial massage, a sports massage, a Swedish massage or whatever, It's what you do afterwards, which is most important. So making sure that in the morning you are getting up and you're doing stretches and you're actually getting your body ready for the day. So I've got a little morning routine that I do with a foam roller and things like this, and I just try and get my body ready for the day and get the blood flowing and get the synovial fluid in the joints, get that start to loosen up and things like that. So I've got arthritis in my shoulder, and I tell everyone I've got arthritis in my shoulder, and it's ridiculous. But I've got arthritis in my shoulder, and in winter it's horrible because it's really painful, and anyone with arthritis will tell you that. Because you imagine the joint is really fluid and flowing, whereas in winter it's cold, so it's more like treacle than a fluid joint. So that's what you need to do with every single joint, is just loosen that up and almost mix the fluid so that it stops being so thick and thins out, and then you've got that lubricant within the joint. And that way, if you do what you need to do in terms of stretching and movement, you'll be in a position where you actually think, oh, I bent down and I picked that up, and now my back doesn't hurt, as opposed to yesterday I picked it up and I got a little twinge in my lower back. Today I did it after stretching and there was nothing.
Stretching is a very big thing, especially when you sleep that much. And when people sit a lot and then they went to the bed and then they sleep in like the embryo position, it's the same position as they would sit. And then when they wake up and do the same thing, it's horrible after years. And I also stretch the front of my body to open myself. I drink 2 big glasses of water the first thing in the morning to just get my system going on. It's even better than a coffee. And that's the next thing. Waking up, drinking a coffee and don't pay attention to the body, and then you dehydrate. And that would lead me to the next question: how important is nutrition and food for the ligaments and everything?
So it's important for the body, and what's important for the body is important for the muscles and things like that. So your body needs nutrients, your muscles need nutrients, they need proteins, they need fat, they need carbohydrates. In terms of nutrition itself, I'm lucky that my best friend is actually a nutritionist.
Cool.
So I don't really need to. I don't know a massive amount myself. With anything I don't know, I just call him. But in terms of nutrients as an overview, it's enormous to be able to give your body what it needs. So it's amazing the amount of people that tell me that all they eat is takeaways, and they've got really bad back, and their back hurts all the time, and my knees hurt all the time, and I've got a bad hip, and that's because your body isn't getting the nutrients that it needs. It's not getting the fluid that it needs, and it's not getting all that it needs to. It's just sustaining and not thriving. So it's just getting by, and it's working really hard to withdraw the nutrients from the bad food, as opposed to just having the nutrients from good food. And just like with a post of an avocado this morning and all the fats, and the amount of people that look at fat on food and think, oh, I'm on a diet, I can't eat that amount of fat. And it's actually, you need to eat fat. Your body needs fat. It needs specific fats to be able to do what it needs to do on a daily basis. And I think a lot of bad information out there around diets, bad diets and good diets, that don't give the full picture of what actually your body needs. So yes, you will lose fat if you don't eat fat, but you will feel bad. You'll feel fatigued. You will feel uncomfortable. Your muscles will start to cramp up and things like that, because you're not giving your body what it needs to thrive. You're giving your body what it needs to just survive. And that's where the difference is, I think, with nutrients and not.
I think the people need to understand the difference between trans fats and the actually good fats, and that processed food contains so many different chemicals that you would never get from a diet with whole foods. And I always try to tell people that you need to see food as information for the body, and not for the sake of being not hungry at all. So what you put in your body as the information, then your body can work with it and build a very, very solid nervous system and muscle, bones, ligaments. I also like to do a bone broth once a month, once in 2 months, and just get and use all the pieces of the animal. For example, if you eat meat, not just going for the muscle, go for the bone, for the skin, organs. They provide you with so much nutritious information, which can help you to be a healthier person.
Yeah, I like that about the information. It's a good point, because you think about bodybuilding. I think about bodybuilders. I've been quite into bodybuilding for many years and stuff. Not that I have a body, I like to follow it as a sport, and there isn't any bodybuilders that I follow that actually enjoy their diet, but they eat specific times every 2-3 hours, and they force it down because they know that their body requires it and their body needs it. So that's, like you say, food is there as information, or it's there as a need for your body and not necessarily always a want. But that is a good point. I like that point.
Another thing is, when I talk with my friends, for example, kale is so bitter and everything, and when I mix it, it's not tasty, and the people say like, oh yeah, but that's not tasty, and I always say it don't need to be tasty, it needs to function.
Do what it needs to do. Yeah exactly. The amount of people that'll get a salad and then cover it in a salad dressing because it then needs to be tasty and stuff. And it's a good point that actually it needs to do what it needs to do. Don't put things in the way of it doing what it needs to do. Just allow it to do what it needs to do. So that's a good point.
Another question would be relaxation, because relaxation is a very, very important part to get rid of problems in the body. What would be your tips to relax the body, to relax the mind, to just calm down? And
so in terms of relaxation is huge for the body and for the mind. Obviously there is so much anxiety these days, it is crazy. So much stress, so much mental health is enormous, and it's just being talked about more and more. And I think the more and more it gets talked about, the more and more people start to suffer with it, because it's becoming more aware, and they feel a feeling that natural anxiety is a natural feeling. Everyone gets anxious, but I think because the media have made such a big thing of it, obviously people suffer with it and people have panic attacks and things like that. I'm not saying it's a bad thing to have anxiety, but I think people feel anxiety and start to worry about the fact that they're getting anxiety and start to think, oh my God, I've read about this online and this is, I'm going to start really bad and stuff. And I think a really good thing to do in terms of just to relax the body and the mind is a little thing that I've done in the past and I've done for a while is like mindfulness. So just working on mindfulness and just closing your eyes and taking some deep breaths and just thinking, what can I smell? What can I hear? What can I taste? And just focusing on those things. And what that does is it takes you away from anything in the past and anything in the future and puts you in the present and puts you where you are currently. So you spend, put a minute timer on, and you just breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth with your eyes closed, and you're just thinking about, what can I smell? What can I hear? What can I taste? What's around me? What can I feel? These types of things. And what that does is that draws you straight into where you are, your current reality, as opposed to worrying about things that have happened or thinking about things that are going on. And while you're doing that, your body's having a relax at the same time. Your body is doing what it needs to do. It's pumping blood through the muscles and stuff, and it's doing what that needs to do without the worry of what you may be worried about. So that is a good one that's worked for me in the past, and should work for anyone if you do it properly.
I'm super glad you mentioned that, because I was thinking about, you are saying like go into the sauna, get a hot shower or something like this, but being mindful is such a great tool that everybody can use today to discover new parts of the conscience, especially when, like, I do it also. I meditate and I try to just focus on my breath, and when I sit straight, when pain shows up in any area of the body, I just watch it and I'm not judging it. And after a while, it will go away from its own. And then you know that it's maybe just in your head, the pain that is going on right now.
Yeah.
And
or the body's corrected that issue because it's mindful of it. So the body's thought, right, that's a pain, let's get some nutrients there, let's get what needs happening.
yeah,
And it fixes it.
Yeah, there is also a type of one type of this thing. It's called in German, I don't know the English word, but it's autogenes training, and you try to relax the mind and focus on different parts. For example, now I'm focused on my arm. My arm is getting heavy, and then you switching to the other arm, and then you tell yourself, my arm is getting heavy, and you lie on the ground, and then you do it with your legs, you do it with your both arms, both legs, whole body. And when you do this, I'm not I don't find the English word for it now, but to scan the body makes you also in the present moment, and helps to just relax. And sometimes like the gut is making some noises, and then you know that the body is relaxing now. And as you said, blood is going through the whole body, the nutrients are going where they belong to. And I mean, the body is so smart. We are the smartest thing in the world. I mean, we could do so many different interesting things like phones and airplanes, but we still don't understand the human body and the human mind. And to just work on that, to be conscious, to try to sit for 30 minutes and to just focus on your breath, can be such a hard task that many could get crazy. But if you just do it, accumulate it over years and years, you can become like a healthier and a better human, I would say.
Yeah, for sure. I think there's a lot of people that do meditation that never need treatments. They don't get ill, and this sort of thing. I mean, I don't meditate myself. I don't have time with a 2-year-old, but but yeah, I think it's important that, like you say, the body is phenomenal. There isn't a machine that can fix itself that I know about, and works unconsciously without guidance. And I think in your last video that I've seen you do in the past, where around breathing, like, you know, if you were to breathe, if you were to right, I need to breathe now, and I need to blink now, and I need blood to flow, and I need my heart to be beating. And if you were doing that consciously, like, your mind would explode.
I would die.
In the conversation. So the body is phenomenal, and I think if you take the time to just relax properly and be present and almost blank your mind, then the body can do what it needs to do unconsciously without aiding any worries that you may have or any stresses that you could have. You can just get on with its work.
Yeah, that's very, very interesting. And that's all that I needed to cover today. Do you have anything to add, Jay?
No, I think it's just I think I've covered everything there in terms of you know, if you do what's right by your body, you'll never need me or anyone else like me. I'll be out of business if people did what they needed to do in terms of, I see many personal trainers that don't warm up and cool down, or they'll get their they'll have a client, and I'll be in the gym and I'll see that the client's done 1 minute on their cross trainer before they're then into the free weight area and stuff. And I've been guilty of it myself. I'm not pretending that I've always been perfect, and I've spent 15 minutes relaxing and warming my body up before training. I've gone in on a lunchtime when I've been at work and trained for 45 minutes hard, and then gone and got a shower and gone home and gone back again. And that takes its toll massively. And I think you start to think that, where's the problem? And the problem lies in what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. So like I say, if you're doing what your body requires you to do, which is give it time and give it the right equipment in terms of stretching and posture and mindfulness and things, your body will fix itself. It doesn't need me, because I'm muscular. I don't do operations on people. I don't crack bones like a chiropractor would do. I solely fix issues within a muscle. The body can do that itself when given the right tools to be able to do it.
Yeah.
So if you allow yourself to do that, then you'll never need a sports massage or any kind of massage, unless, like I say, you just want to relax and just need a little bit of help thinking about something else.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the only thing that I'd add there, and I think I've talked about that already. So.
But it's good to talk about this kind of things, and I'm super glad that you wanted to do this podcast with me.
Yeah,
And
no,
I mean, we just met this week, and I write you, and now we're doing this podcast, and we are connecting. I like it,
sure.
man, and I love the
Yeah, no,
internet. I love the internet for that, because
yeah.
when in the time was it possible to do things like that? I mean, I needed to come to Yorkshire and ask you first, maybe after a massage, if you would like to do a podcast with me.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be video. It would be recording yourself and then putting it to me like that. So yeah, no, the internet is great. It's great for many things. It's also very bad for other things, but it's great for connecting and building businesses, and marketing, and social media and things like that. I mean, they're great for things like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, they do also have their downturns.
like many things.
Yeah.
But I think if somebody's listened to this whole podcast, they will get some nice knowledge for themselves, and maybe understand the body a little bit better. And that's our job to do. And
For sure, yeah.
If you don't have anything to add, I would say we can leave it like this. It's 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Nice informations. And yeah, thank you, Jay.
Take care, man.
See you. And for everybody who's listening, thank you as well. See you on my next episode.